All right, welcome back. Let's talk about this balls between these people on the internet. We have four different characters here. We have Reno, Omokri. Let me see if I can show some picture for you guys. Reno Omokri. We have Pastor Adeboye. We have also we have who do we have? We have Tara Durotoye. We have also Betty Irabor. These are our aunties and uncles and our father in the Lord. All right, and they're basically talking about economy. Okay, so this might just be this week's money segment. Okay, but let's talk about it really quickly. So this is how it started. Basically, Reno Omokri has been pushing against Pastor Adeboye for a minute, maybe for a few days. And this is what he said. He said, "Dear Pastor Adeboye, thank you for your call. We love you and honor your contribution to the growth of the church. However, I again beg to defer." Okay, this is the second time he's disagreeing with our father in the Lord, Pastor Adeboye. Okay, and the Naira situation is not something we should pray about with all our strength. If you don't know what they're talking about, the Naira to dollar right now, to Naira, let me see the official. It's now officially, even on Google, 1,250 Naira. You can see that right there. Boom. Okay. So it's wild. It's crazy. That's just the online number. I think it's more like 1,500 right now. All right. And that's what's going on. But anyway, he said the Naira situation is not something that's basically a depreciation of Naira from, I think, the beginning of last year. I think it was at around maybe even 400. Let me look at 1 year here. Oh my God, $459, exactly the same time last year. Okay, it's now at 1,250. That's how much it cost anybody with Naira to buy $1. Okay, so it's depreciating, and that's what he's talking about. I said the Naira situation is not something we should pray about with all our strength. This is quote unquote. Rather, it is a situation that requires us to work with all our combined strength. All right, so he's basically making a distinction between prayer and work. Other nations with high value currencies did not achieve that feat via prayers. They get there through hard work and sound economy policies. And many of them, like China and Japan, are non-praying, non-tithing, non-Christian nations. This is why in China, a Chinese man who was asked, "Do you know Christ?" he responded with, "No, but if you show me, I will produce a copy." Yeah, a Chinese man or an Igbo man might say that. I said might say that. It sounds funny, but it goes to the root of the economic success. Prayers are for things we cannot do ourselves. If we live by the godly principles of godly principles is making a point of you reap what you sow, then we would not need to pray for things that we have not sown. I can't argue with this, regardless of how I felt about Reno Omokri before this conversation. It is what it is. Okay, this is the first time I'm ever agreeing with him. Maybe I will agree with more as time goes on. Nigeria has the largest church auditorium on earth. The current world record holder actually broke the record set by another Nigerian church. Perhaps if we also had the world's largest manufacturing plants instead of just the globe's largest church auditorium, we would not be in this fix. Then reduce your church activities. RCCG, Redeemed Christian Church of God members attend church almost daily. Pick only 1 or 2 days and then tell your members to go to work at their jobs and businesses on the other days. Finally, use your considerable influence to counsel. In my opinion, Papa Adeboye is arguably at least one of the top 3 most influential people in Nigeria. I'm just saying, he's a very influential point. It's the point I'm making, okay? So he said, finally, use your considerable influence to counsel. We can all agree that he has a considerable influence to counsel your members and other Nigerians not to see the rainy season as weather for two, but instead use it to go to the farms and cultivate what we eat so that Nigeria can reduce her $5 billion annual food import bill. Naira dollar exchange rate. We have to pray to God with all our strength. That was the initial report. Shout out to Instablog Niger from Pastor Adeboye. He urges Nigerians. The General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, has urged Nigerians to pray for God's divine intervention against the rising Naira to dollar exchange rate. The clergyman made the appeal on Sunday, February 4, at the Throne of Grace Parish, RCCG headquarters in Ebute Metta, Lagos. Remember, at the beginning of the year, God said that things are going to get worse before they get better. If you know the value of the Naira to the dollar by January 1, if you compare the value to the Naira to the dollar today, you will say it looks like this boy knows what he was saying. We have to pray with all our strength, because when you say things would get worse before they get better, we don't know how worse and how further before they can get better. With all your heart, cry to God and say, please have mercy on us. Intervene quickly. It does not matter how much they are changing the dollar. They are secured where they are. The governor does not need to know the cost of petrol. He doesn't want to know how much petrol is in his tank. When he wants to go out, he comes out and enters his car. He doesn't queue at the petrol station. The president doesn't need to know how much they sell bread. Well, first of all, I think the president and governor knows how much they sell those things. And if they didn't, that is wild, right? Anyway, that is none of this business. It will get to his table when he wants to eat. That's all of his business. Anyway, but it's also possible that we're taking Papa Adeboye out of context here. But either out of context or not, we need to start paying attention to beyond just your context. How are normal layman, vulnerable people interpreting this? And that's what's going to matter when you are such a considerable influencer. So we need to pay a little bit more attention beyond just your intentions and your context. You need to also pay attention to the 200 million people listening to you potentially, right? How are they interpreting what you're saying? Like, I could see that, okay, maybe we're taking him out of context. All right. At some point, we're going to have to start looking at you and say, show more money. Are you doing it intentionally? Why are you saying that, knowing that a considerable sector of the people listening to you will misinterpret this and mean, if you just pray, everything will be fine? Oh, yeah, you don't know it. There's some people that truly believe that. Now, two things can be true at the same time. You can pray, you can also work, right? You can mean pray so that God will give us the wisdom to know how to work. You can interpret this any direction you want. But that's a problem. The ambiguity is a problem for the state of Nigeria right now. This emergency, right? Particularly when you consider the fact that this is a considerable influencer, right? So I think that's where Reno Omokri is coming from. So I skew more to his side than, hey, don't take him out of context. Either way, we need to start spelling some of those things out fully. This is what I mean. When I say pray, I don't mean come to church 7 days a week. I mean go and find a goddamn job, right? Don't wait until somebody gives you a taxable W2 office job. Look around you and find ways you can add value to our society in a way that we can potentially export some of that value, right? That's now Nigeria can start speaking. Once you start having a considerable amount section of the country start producing at that level, then we can solve this problem. But Reno Omokri is right. We don't fall into the middle of 1,250 naira to $1, all the way from, my father was just telling me the story of 1974, 1969 kobo to $1. I mean, it's a long way coming. It's about 45-50 years ago. So, but I'm just saying, Then Baba said, I have told you that I am not a prophet, I am a pastor. At the beginning of the year, the Lord said that the wind was going to blow, and the wind was already blowing. I said, listen, this is a lot, right? All right, so he might be taken out of context, but he has a point that we need to start spelling this out. There's a lot of the vulnerables that are interpreting this as, verbatim. Just pray, just sit down there and pray, and everything will be fine. They've been doing that literally all my life. Okay. Somebody here said, Dear Reno Omokri, kindly direct your grievances to the government. You've hypocritically been in support of and advised them to stay mismanaging public funds. Thank you, babe. Public funds, resources. Rather, they should direct it to proper use, such that. Can I see that, babe? Do you mind? Let me see it. I don't know. This looks like it's off or something. Thank you. Let's not see. Okay. Interesting. This is better than that. Thank you. All right. Sorry. So this person is basically accusing Reno Omokri of being hypocritical, blah 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 blah. You know, I guess I don't know. No. We need to direct the anger towards all the influencers that are directing the direction of the human mindset in Nigeria. All of them, every single one of them. I don't care if they're religious or political. All of them, they are just as influencer because they're influencing people to vote and make and select their leaders. Okay, directly or indirectly. So that's not good enough. Sorry. Somebody said, with prayers, God can show us the easy way out. Yeah, so now they're adding context to it. That's the point. We need to add context to it, and then our results are showing up wrongly. We need to do something about that. Okay? Definitely need to do something about that. Let me see. There's absolutely nothing wrong with asking God to bless our economy. Yeah, it's not. It's one of those things again. No, you're not wrong. There's nothing wrong. Okay?
You're right.
Yeah, but you're wrong at the same time. We're talking about if we're saying things at a very influential level that we need to add additional context to, and our results is not showing up the way it's supposed to show up, then we need to have more conversations. That's what that means. Okay. Somebody says, Reno saying people should go and farm to reduce importation of food. I guess he's not aware that farmers are being killed on their farmlands, therefore making from. I mean, you can go back and forth with this. You know, the point is that there's more. You know, like I said, you know, Adeboye is not necessarily wrong either, but there's definitely, we need to keep having conversations so people can wake up, and maybe the point is that. Just know that praying is not enough. Okay, just knowing that praying is not enough. All right, so let me see here. Let's see. I don't go Lily return says, hello man of prestige, your voice crush. Hey, I don't go Lily, I see you. How you doing? I noticed that you didn't know it was me the other day, but good to see you here. All right. Yeah, so listen. All right, so anyway, this goes as extended to a couple of aunties, and I'm gonna show you some of that right now. Let's see. So we had Auntie Betty Irabor. I think she's the publisher of the magazine Geneve, right? She's a media personality, okay? So and she writes, "Dear men of God, can you please stop asking people to pray for solutions to Nigeria's current economic crisis? How about you actually becoming answered prayers by opening food banks, blood banks, soup kitchens, shelter, and dispensaries for your members?" Okay. Now, I don't. Now, she's kind of off a little bit too, because, you know, the truth is that many pastors already kind of do that already, you know. So she's, you know, I'm just noticing that ending part of it where she said by opening food banks, blood bank, you know, a lot of this. Church facilities, the issue is that they're trying to solve problem just for their own vineyard, and you know, Olola and Rioloshi is the issue here. If we're talking about Adeboye levels, these people have significant levels of influence, and they can also inspire people to serve their nation, to direct some of that energy towards nation building. Maybe if she had said that, I would have been, you know, okay with it. Somebody said one of my Pastor Dayo Olutayo, when he was in Winners Abuja, had a food bank in Yaya Abuja before he left to go and start his own church. Did you know about that? Because he didn't go about with cameras showing off. You people just come online spewing nonsense. A lot of them are doing that. Yeah, she exposed herself. She exposed herself to online trolls when she said food bank and all this kind of stuff. Now, the first portion of what she said, which is, can you please stop asking to pray for solutions to Nigeria's current economic crisis? If she had provided a suitable economy a potential solution, then maybe we can have something to talk about, you know. But Ben, what are you doing now? what are you doing? What's MOP voice with the blood of Jesus? Wala, wala. What's going on, brother Ben? Good to see you. Reno na person. Na person no. Reno Omokri. Na person no. So that second part of the conversation, that solution she's giving is not hard enough. That's the only issue I see what she's saying. Fixing current economic crisis, long term, Nigeria need to start producing for the rest of the world to also buy from them. Long term. Short term, there needs to be policy in places to encourage more exports, to encourage more home-based solutions, home-based production. We need to, if you're going to talk about economic crisis, it needs to be at that, kind of like an overhead level type of conversation, not soup kitchens and blood bank. I think a lot of churches already do that, and clearly that's not enough, right? She speaks because she lacks information, and it's not her fault. What the churches in Nigeria gives out in a week. So all these people defending the church are also just as wrong. All of them go collect now. All right, this is not the moment to defend the church, okay? Because it's disconnected from the actual conversation, right? Which is the economic crisis, which is what Baba Adeboye was saying, that they should be praying with all their strength, right? Praying also consumes energy. That's why we need to spell out both work and pray. Faith without work. We need to be talking more about that more than ever before. Okay? We need to be talking more about that more than ever before right now. Okay? This is not the time to... No, it's not. It's not the time to be defending the church. It's not the time. You don't come back and say, oh, I understand your talk. If you can have this conversation at this level, okay, yes, I'm teaching you how to talk. I'm policing your talking. If you can say, hey, economic crisis, yes, we definitely need to talk more about that, even at church, clergy level, religious houses conversation, because these are extremely influencing what's the word? That's the word I'm looking for. Not just persons, but entities, right? So these people need to be having conversation around the economic crisis. But a bigger part of this conversation is that all the blood banks that your pastor are doing, all the soup kitchens and food banks are not solving the problem. And we're not going to dismiss that part of the conversation just by telling us that your pastor is doing that already. My pastor does that too, so I don't know what you're talking about, right? Somebody says, see people revolting in the comment section. Nigerians are so deep into religion. Yes, these are the issues. They are busy defending religion, not God. They're busy defending religion and not what the conversation was about in the first place. Right? They won't allow you to criticize the wrongdoings of the church. Religion is mostly about humanity, and with the amount of religious houses we have in this country that all collect money from their members in offerings and tithes, then none of their members should ever go hungry. At least nobody is asking the church to come and build roads, create jobs. These are the conversation, right? And we need to also, when it comes to building roads, building roads, railways, and all these infrastructures, basic amenities, building those, they need to have both short and long-term plans in place, right? We can't just be taking all 10 to the next 15 years of crude oil and be using it to borrow money that will never come to fruition. That is something that Nigeria has been doing, seemingly, or at least proposing, that is just extremely dangerous. Because what are you going to eat today if you give away everything up front in exchange for billions of dollars, when there are in fact more than enough natural resources then they can survive on, or at least come up with a little bit more creative ways than just outrightly signing off 10 to 15 years of crude oil. But anyway, I'm just saying, just off of, I'm not a subject matter expert. For what? When a lot of their members don't have food on their table, from which money? From the money you don't give to the church. So this another person defending the church, because church don't post what they do. All right. So I guess where she went wrong and exposed herself is when she was talking about blood bank and soup kitchens and stuff. But we're not going to get derailed from the conversation. The conversation here is that the economic crisis, what kind of conversations are the church or churches having around them? Is it just pray with all your strength? And that's all Reno Omokri was saying, right? It doesn't mean that prayer is not useful. Obviously, some people just need a little prayer to get to the next day. I think it's the next. All right, so there's some additional comment. Leave men of God alone. Most of them actually do this. Fact, I don't know a church who has done half of what she suggested. Because this person is supporting her. So again, all these things that she suggested are not solutions to the economy. All right, this is just another way to feed the homeless on the street and stuff like that. At a national level, we need more robust conversations and solutions, right? Churches do all this. When have politicians and atheists ever done outreach? Yeah, so I don't know. All these conversations are just weird to me because, let me see. Yeah, these are the issues. Even the direction of some of these conversations are some of the issues. Anyway, Auntie Tara Durotoye entered the conversation. If you don't know who she is, she's the wife of leadership guru, once upon a time presidential candidate, Fela Durotoye. And she said, I disagree with this post. Okay, and then she went on to post, let me start by saying that churches generally do not publicize when they do this. Okay, again, we still have to blame it on Auntie Betty Irabor. She's the one that derailed the conversation, with the solution being blood bank and food bank and all this kind of stuff. But some of these people should have been able to, they should catch it too. They should have caught that, like, okay, all right, not food bank because we already do that, but I know we need to have more conversations around the economic crisis, particularly for long term. Before anytime you blink your eyes, another 15 years is here. Now I don't know where Naira is going. Maybe they will now subdivide it and now it will look like it's now better, but it's not really better, because it's about the purchasing power of the money that you have in your pocket locally. Okay, so I don't care if it's showing $1 to 1,250 or $1 to 5,000 naira. That's going to be the case if it keeps going, but it's not really about that. It's about, is the purchasing power of $1, is it the same thing as the purchasing power of 5,000 naira? If it's the same thing, then there's nothing to worry about. The issues are, it is not. It's literally affecting people's purchasing power, even at a local level, even ordinary to buy simple gari, even ordinary to buy cement, right? It's affecting people in every area of life, and that's what the conversation. And nobody's even talking about that yet, right? There's no education going on with regards to how the economy works, starting from a personal level to a household level, even up to a state level to national level. Most people are just basically winging, because hunger is a bastard. Because people are just winging things along and just hoping that they too will get rich one day after praying for so long. And that's a problem. That's the problem we're talking about, because you actually have to work in order to you have to sow in order to reap. That's the point of the conversation. This is not an attack against pastors. This is an attack against the economic crisis. There is a conversation that must be had beyond just praying with all your strength. Is the whole point. Okay. So these people started tagging their pastors, because now she said, if your man of God does the above, please let us know. Tag them. So they started tagging them. Constantly feed the poor. Yemi Davis, constantly feed the poor. Even ID Kabaza. Come on now, Baba. You have much more wisdom than that, right? The Toyosi is also tagging Harvesters NG, have the African Empowerment Foundation. What does this have to do? What does this have to do with the economy, right? Dr. Shala just clapped, but I bet Dr. Shala disagrees if we start grilling through this conversation a little bit. Somebody tagged her and said, you also do this too? I beg, leave Baba alone. The Fountain of Life Church under Pastors Taiwo and have for decades run soup kitchens. It's not working. Don't you get it? It's not working. It's working for the people that will feed on a short-term basis. They'll collect that food. They'll go back home. They'll come back tomorrow. Okay? We need to have better conversations around this. That's the point. Ibukun Awoshika, that's a woman I respect. Let me see what she said. She said, to underestimate the sheer impact an investment of faith-based organizations across the board in the lives of the citizens, both within and outside of the congregation, is to exhibit ignorance and simply mischievous. Yeah, auntie, this is not the conversation. See how this conversation completely derailed from the economic crisis, which is the actual reality. The actual result of reality is an economic crisis. You see how small opening window that Auntie Betty Irabor opened for them, they completely derailed the conversation. These are the issues. I told you, even the elites are struggling with understanding how to keep the conversation in one place so that we can actually finish solving one type of problem before we move into other. The other problem they're solving right now is the attack against the pastors and the church. Thanks to Auntie Betty Irabor for bringing in the blood bank into the conversation. Jesus Christ. The truth is the society is surviving the economy right now because a lot of churches give food, rice, provision, money to members. Churches are really helping in times like this, honestly. They have the values that they bring to the table. I have to agree with that. Even if it's ordinary hope, just to live another day. I completely get that. I completely get that. But the reality is not changing. The economic crisis. What are you going to say about that? That's the question. Let's talk about it in the comments. Okay, you're right. Your pastor give food banks, soup kitchens, blood bank, okay, shelter dispensaries and all of that. You're absolutely right. Okay, I get it.
You're right.
All right, so now can we get back to the conversation of the economic crisis? What solutions would you suggest? In your opinion, overall, no attack against our pastors, no attack against our clergymen, imam, your father, who might be even heading the next Ministry of Education. I don't know. No attack against Tinubu. Okay, let's not do that. Please let the poor breathe.
Let the poor breathe.
What solution do you suggest for the active economic crisis and the exchange rate and the depreciation of the naira and even the Nigerian passport, and even what are your solutions? Give me one at least, just give me one. What do you think? What are your thoughts around this? And then we can take it from there. I think there is a conversation that we should have, and we will continue to have it. All right. Without being said, do me a favor, hit that like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we do go live. I would definitely like to have more around this Nigeria economy, worldwide economy conversation. All right. And I'll be back in about 20 seconds.
It's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.